Hi, in the last video we have basically created this particular knowledge tracker dashboard, right? Now I have received so many useful comments in that video, which leads to this particular video where basically we will be doing some kind of bug fixes, as well as I have some observations on both of this Linux based system as well as the Windows based system for the base search we have developed, basically the config tracker index data. So I'll be shared with you in this video as well. Okay, so probably we need another video to fully get what I wanted to discuss, so I'll just try to make it as short as possible, this particular video. Okay, so first thing is I have taken a Linux environment as well. Okay, so I have received one comment, right, because the base search we have developed, so probably I will take it here. So these three tabs are basically belongs to my Linux system, and these two tabs are basically for my Windows system. Okay, so now if I just take the base search here, so basically like if we can understand and fix our base search, so that should be enough for all the panels over here, right? So I'll be mostly concentrating on the base search and its shortcomings in different systems as well as the event wise differences. So if I just show you the base search, probably we will not have anything in last 15 minutes, but that's fine. But this particular base search has two parts, right? One is we are getting the data from the config tracker index, then we are joining with our internal index. Basically we try to find out which user basically makes that particular change over here, right? Now to make it work, first thing I will do is first we will work in the Linux base, then we will discuss the Windows based here. Okay, so I will create a one sample report. Let's say I will say sample report 1. Okay, I will just give a very simple query over here, index equals to underscore internal, so this is fine, underscore internal, then stats count by source type, let's say. Okay, earliest time I'll just give -2 day, and latest type I'll just give now over here, and just click on save. Okay, so there is a reason I have given this name, like space inside the knowledge object name. We will see that one now. Okay, but at least we created a new report. Now let's see what are my config tracker index as well as my internal index is having this one. Okay, so what I'll do is I will create two search windows from here, so that we can separately track them down. Okay, so I'll keep this one as my base search, so whatever changes I will be having it, so I'll just make it over here. So first we will see the config tracker index here for last 15 minutes, right? So ideally it should be having a event over here. Now it does not return anything, so probably we will try to see it from here, because this is a Linux based system. We have an event, but my query did not return anything, because if I expand this one, right, so from this path itself we were determining the app context as well as the knowledge object type, right, KO type over here. But as this is Linux based system, so the paths are basically / separated, right? So our code will not work in that case. So here the separator I have to give the / over here as well. Okay, so now I think this where condition will get satisfied, and I will get a data with, this is the report we have just now created with these values over here. This is perfectly fine. Now let's move to, so let's make this change in our base search as well, right? So as we are working currently in the Linux based system, I will just make it as / for now. Windows based system, the old code still works. Okay, now the second part of the search, where we are basically taking it from the internal index, correct? So if I just run it for last 15 minutes, Let's see what's happening over there. Okay, so we have so many events for so many apps. So let's do one thing here. Let's filter out first. Okay, so anyway, this is fine, right? This path separator we have already have the forward slash because it's an API endpoint, right? So what I'll do is I will just filter with the app context equals to tmdb here. Okay, and if I just run it, I still not have anything. Probably what I'll do is I will comment out this guy over here, this particular line over here, and see whether I have something or not. I have something. There are a lot of knowledge objects it is saying like has been accessed or changed. Probably these are the safe search, right? So what I'll do is basically we have created a knowledge object called sample report, right? So I will just try to filter out with sample. Probably it should show up over here. Okay, now there are a couple of things. First thing is when I commented out this one, this guy started showing up over here, right? So let's see the method first here. After user, I'll just add that method over here. So the method is get. So this is one thing I have noticed. So whenever you are creating a new knowledge object, ideally there should be a post event logged as well in the internal index, but I think this is not happening here. But this is happening when we are changing or basically editing a particular knowledge object, then we are getting the post event over there. But whenever we are creating the knowledge object, we are not getting it. So this is one thing I have seen it over there. Second thing, if you see it, as this is an API endpoint, right? So this will be URL encoded. If you see for space, this %20 is coming up over here. Now this knowledge object name is one of the join condition I have it here, right? The knowledge object name. So I have to do something because like from the config tracker, the knowledge object is coming up properly, right? With this properly without the URL encoded part, right? So somehow we have to do the URL decode of this guy over here. So fortunately for Splunk eval, so there is a eval function available called URL decode, which we can use it. So let's use that one now. So I'll say URL decode, DECODE, URL decode this guy, the stanza, right? Because this is the knowledge object. So basically we are renaming this stanza as knowledge object over here, right? So if I just run it, so this is perfectly fine now, right? So we fixed one issue here of like changing this stanza with this one over here, right? So let's copy this change over here in our stanza as well, in our main base search here. Now in the previous video I have shown like from the internal index, basically it's the Splunk UI access source type, that particular data only we are accessing it, right? So it is always good practice to mention this one, even though our code will work without this one as well, but it is always good practice to give the source type as well, so that the query will be more efficient. So if I just run it now, this will be same result, but the query will be more efficient over here. So I'll just copy this portion as well here and keep it over here. Okay, so that's another fix, we have done it. Now how to make basically this particular change over here, because anyway when we are creating the knowledge object, we are not getting the post event over here. So somehow we can fix it in two ways. Like if we can just include the get method over here, probably it would have solved it, but the problem will be happening like when this particular report will be accessed, like any get request for this particular report will have an effect on your search result as well, right? So instead of that, what we can do is we can make this particular join outer. Okay, so if I just write type equals to outer, so what will happen is like we will be basically working with all the changes reported in the config tracker index with the matching changes, because anyway we will not be able to determine like which user basically, because this is a get request, right? This is not a post request. So which user basically changed it or created that. So only the creation knowledge object creation event, we won't be able to track it, but anyway we will be able to track the addition of, like, editing of the knowledge object over here or changing of the knowledge object over here. Okay, so I think like join type equals to outer should be enough over here to work with this. So if I just run this one now, so it will basically report, like we have created a sample report, right? But it will not have any user over here because that particular event itself is not available in Splunk right now. Okay, we will in future we will test it out with the changing of this knowledge object as well. So that time we will see like the user will be properly reported over here with this query. Okay, so this is the one. Now let's try to discuss another important aspect. Now let us do one thing. Let us create another report over here. Okay, so what I'll do is I will clone it. I will say report 2 over here. Okay, clone report, and what I'll do is, so this is my clone report over here. So I have created another report over here. So by the logic we have seen it over here. So even this, for this report 2 itself, there will be no post event will be available. So if I run this one in our internal index, okay, now as we have cloned this particular report, let us try to see what is happening to our internal index, whether it is able to report this one or not. At least we'll get some event or not. If I run it for this one, if you see it, like the sample report 2 itself, even there is no get event over here as well. So if you clone the report, so I think no event will be available over here as well. But in our config tracker index, it will be properly reported over there. As you can see, it's sample report 2 over here. So let's create another report here, new report. Okay, I have not cloned it now. I'll say sample report 3 over here. Okay, I'll give a search, index equals to underscore internal, and I'll say stats count by source type over here. Okay, earliest time same I'll give for now. We will change it after some time now. So I will save it. So this particular report I created from here, right? So hopefully this particular report will have an entry, get entry over here, if you see it, right? So sample report, so sample report 3 over here, we have a get method over here. So again, there are some anomalies in the internal index. So that means like only we can rely on the internal index when we will be changing or basically editing this particular knowledge object. Otherwise we cannot rely it. So that's why our approach of making this particular join outer is fair enough. Even if I just run it now for last 15 minutes, okay, I'll see the sample report 3 as well over here, but there is no user reported over here because that event itself is not available for us. Okay, so now let us try to change these things here. Okay, so what we'll do is we will make changes. So in the sample report 3, I will make this 2 days to 3 days. Okay, and instead of source type, I will just say source type comma host over here. Okay, host over here. I'll save it. Sample report 2, I will make the same change in the search, host, and I will just keep it as 4 days, let's say. Okay, so we are making the changes in the search as well as the earliest time here, right? So host, I will just make it as a day over here, let's say. Okay, so I have made changes these 3 reports, right? The earliest time as well as the search. Now let's see what is getting reported in our internal index first. Okay, so if I run for last 15 minutes, if you see now I get the post events now, post get post over here. Okay, for 3, 2 and 1, now I get the post events over here. Okay, so that means the safe search I am having it, right? If that particular changes are getting reported in the config tracker index, it should be properly reported the user as well over there. Okay, if you see, it is getting reported over here for sample report 1, 2 and 3 over here. Okay, all these changes is getting reported over here, but there is a problem. If you see it over here, so from here it is basically started reporting, right? So first we change the sample report 3, then we change the sample report 2, and then we change the sample report 1, right? So for 3, if you see, previously the day was -2 days, earliest time was -2 days, and the search was something like stats count by source type. Now whenever I change the date earliest time to 3 days and search to source type comma host, in the old value, ideally this guy should be getting reported over here. Okay, so this is one thing I have noticed in the Linux based logging here. Okay, so it basically does not giving us the old value even if you see the actual events. So if I just show you till this point, right? So where we basically, even like I can remove this thing, we can see the raw event itself. Okay, so this is the first event 11:49:38. so that is my, I think this is my, this one for safe search report 1, right? So let's see that. So what I am saying is, if you see, like for the same time it is giving me two events over here. It basically creating 2 events. Ideally it should be creating a single event with the old value of these values over here, right? So if I see it over here, 11:49:38, it created 2 events, even though the milliseconds are different over here. Okay, and in both the places, if I just go to these changes and click over here, this is the sample report 1, and if I just go to changes and click over here, this is the sample report 1 as well. Okay, so if I see the properties, for each and every properties there is no new value over here, which basically points to this guy over here. There is no new value, but there was some old value, this event, right? And if I see the second event, it is reporting for each and every properties there is no old value over here. Okay, so there is no old value over here. So this is how the reporting is getting changed. Now it could be an issue, or it could be the way Splunk will be logging in the Linux based system, which we don't know, because this is the new feature introduced in Splunk 9, right? So we will see. Probably this one I will keep it for the next video to fix it. Okay, now let us first try to see whether this similar kind of behavior exists in the Windows based system or not. Okay, so what I'll do is I will quickly create 3 searches now. So I will go to our search and reporting. Okay, I will create 3 new reports here. So I'll say sample report, as we are creating in Windows based system, that's why I'll say win1. Okay, I will just copy the search over here. Okay, I will copy the search. So we will start with source type. We'll say -2 days and now. Okay, I will save it. Similarly, I will create another report, sample report win2 over here with the similar search, and -2 days and now over here. I will save it. I'll get another report over here, sample report win3 over here. I'll give the similar search. Earliest time I'll give 2 days, and latest time I'll give now over here. Okay, I'll save it. Now this is the base search. We have fixed it in Linux based system. Let's take it over here, but we need to remember This is Windows based system, so that means we will be basically working with this one, double slash over here. Okay, double slash over here. I think no other changes are required. So for last 15 minutes, ideally it should be reporting like we have created 3 searches over here. So I think the third one is still not reported. We have created 3 searches over here, right? So let's wait for that. Yeah, it is reported now. Okay, so it is perfectly reporting over here. Now let us try to change it over here. Okay, so as we can see it, like as we created them, there is no user context available here, which is same, like the internal index behavior is same for Linux based system as well as Windows based system here. Okay, so now let us try to change a similar way. I'll add host over here and let's do it as 3 days. Save it. I'll add host over here. Let's keep it as 4 days. Save it, and I will add host over here. I'll just keep it 1 day over here. Okay, so now in the last video we have seen, like if we change a particular knowledge object, single knowledge object, that time our code was working properly, right? So now let's see whether it was able to catch it or not, whatever we are seeing it there. If you see, like the knowledge objects are coming up now as multi-value field over here, right, which I think is not working expectedly over here. So there was one very useful comment I think I received, so thank you for that one. So we need to fix something over here, right? So let's see what's happening over here. We need to analyze this event. So probably we will fix this one, this change in the Windows based system. So first of all, couple of things we have to see. How the eventing is getting changed over here in the Windows based system. So last 15 minutes if I see it, okay, as we have seen for Linux based system, like it was not keeping the old value over there, right? But for the Windows based system, if I see the changes, so this is the sample report 1, right? It's always keeping the old values over here. If you see it, both old value and new value, it is keeping up over here. Similarly for sample report 2, okay. And another thing is, if you see it, like in the single event, now both of these changes are available because it is basically grouping them and reporting it over here, right? So that means we need to handle this thing, and because of this thing only, our knowledge object is coming as multi-value field over here. You can see it over here, right? So we have to handle this one, but in terms of logging, it is keeping the old value, if you see it, right? So I think this is proper logging here. So I think something is missing at the Linux level, but we'll see that later. Probably we'll try to fix that as well for now. So but in Windows system we are having another stuff over here, is because it is reporting, basically it is grouping them together and reporting it, right? So I think there is one configuration as well which govern this one, like clubbing them together and reporting, so that we can have lesser number of events over there, which we discussed in the first video as well. Okay, so if we have this kind of scenario, then what we will do, because in that case our code may not work properly over here. Okay, so we basically what we cannot rely on the data extracted over here, because whatever we have done it there, we actually relying on the data extracted by Splunk over here, whatever data they have extracted it, right? Because of this array over here, right? If I just go there, because of this array of multiple stanzas over here, right? So we have to, so I'll just keep this one like this. So this is the two arrays I have it, right? Arrays of properties, basically two events I have clubbing together for sample report 2 and sample report 3. So we have to handle it. So what we can do is, instead of relying on like Splunk extracted values, so we can use our we can use our own values, like we can extract these values over here. Okay, so what we'll do is we will keep these things over here, at least app context, knowledge object type, we are fine here, right? So these two things should be getting extracted over here, app context and knowledge object type. Now what we were doing previously, so we're basically taking the data as is. So what I'll do is, for simplicity purpose, for now I'll just filter with TMDB app. Anyway, there is no other app I am using it currently, but that is fine. So now instead of relying on this one, so what I'll do is we will extract these values from here. Okay, so let's take an event which has multiple changes. I think this is one having it, and this one is having it a single change over here. Okay, and this one is also having a single change, so this is fine. So what I'll do is we will use the command called spath over here. My input will be the underscore raw, so that's the event. I have it here, right? So now if you are not sure about what spath command do, I have a video for that one. Probably I'll give that video link somewhere over here, so you can check it out. Okay, so I want to basically extract this particular changes key values, right? Because here only I have all the values like the stanza name and the properties name over here, right? So if I just give path equals to data dot changes over here, okay, and output I'll just mention the name of the field called changes. I'll just create a new field called changes over here. So ideally that field should be created. Okay, it does not, because according to the spath syntax, changes are basically it's an array, right? Just an array. So I have to give a curly bracket start and end over here, right? So this thing I have discussed in my video as well, in the spath video. If you see now the changes, this particular field has been created. Let's table this guy over here. I'll table the app context, the knowledge object type, and the changes for now. So we also need the modified time, right? So this is nothing but the data.mod time. So I will take this guy as well over here. Okay, and I will have the changes which I created this field over here, right? So if I table it, now it makes more sense over here. Okay, if you see it for this one, so we have a sample report win1, this particular stanza over here. Okay, and with all these properties changes over here for sample report, and for this particular one where we have a multiple changes reported in a single event, if you see for this particular stanza win2, we have these property values. This particular stanza win3, we have these property values over here. Okay, so we need to extract this stanza as well as this property values here, okay, before we can do something with this one. So we will use spath again and again to extract this one. So now before we do that, as these changes are basically multi-value field over here, if you can see it, right? Because changes was an array, right? So all this all these array elements will be extracted as a multi-value field in our changes field name. So what first we will do is we will MV expand the changes so that we can keep each and every changes into a separate rows over here. Now if you can see it, right? So win2 and win3 now has been separated over here. You can verify it from the modification time as well over here, right? So now we can again use spath, but this time we will use the spath on the changes field, not with the underscore raw field here, right? So we can write something like this one. I'll just copy it. So if you see what I have written it, the input will be the changes field, right? So this time I wanted to extract the stanza here from this particular event, because there is only single event now. Because of the MB expand, each and every changes happen to the knowledge objects now in separate rows, right? So that means from each and every row we will have a single stanza. So I can extract the stanza is something like this one, path equals to stanza, the key name over here, and I will name that particular field as knowledge object. So if I run this one, it will create the knowledge object from here, if you see it, right? So similar way I can create the properties, property names, and their new value and as their old value as well from each and every event over here, from each and every row over here. I'll just copy that code. So if you can see it, like I'm just applying this spath to extract this property name. Now if you see, for properties I have used this curly bracket because properties is a JSON array, if you see it here, right? So that is what I have added it over here. Okay, so if I just run it, so this will have my property name, new value, old value as well. Now we can apply our old code on this part, right, to zip the name, old value and new value, then create separate rows for them. I'll just copy that code portion over here as well. So we have it already over here. So old value, new value, MB expand, this one over here, right? So I'll just copy it. We are just replacing the null value with NA and then doing this stuff over here. So now we have our old functionality available for each and every knowledge object, their corresponding property, old value and new value available over here now. Okay, so now we can remove this particular changes field as we do not need it. So we'll just remove this one here. Okay, so now we have our each and every knowledge object level changes available. Okay, the older dataset in the older format over here. Okay, so now we can use this particular field in our base search here, right? So we can, so basically it is having the similar type like app context action. Even there is an action over here as well. So let me see it, data.action, right? So I can take this guy over here as well. So if I just take this guy over here after app context data.action, so now we can just simply basically rename this data.action to action and data.mod time to mod modification time. So I'll just have this rename works over here. Okay, I will just remove these things, old value, new value, anyway we do not need it. Okay, and action and data.mod time as we have given it here as our modified time over here, right? So as our modified time over here, probably I need to go back to 25 minutes to get the data. Okay, so now I think we are ready with that change. We basically handled that particular scenario over here by using that xpath command over here. Okay, so now I can use this particular one. So I will just remove this app context. We have given it just to narrow down the result, right? So I will just keep it over here. So for last 15 minutes I need to go back to 25 minutes, probably 25 minutes here. So now you can see it like it is reporting this changes over here on this knowledge objects over here. But one thing, if you see it, like for sample 3 report, there is no user is getting reported over here because I think these two events are getting clubbed. So that's why this modification time is not getting matched with the one I have it over here. Okay, so this could be another this is another observation I had it. So anyway, like it looks like from the internal index, whatever like changes we are tracking it, we may not rely it on fully, but we can rely it on partially over here. So that is my take. So probably let me know like how it's going for you, or if you still see more issues or not over here. So okay, so we can now use this particular base search in our dashboard, and then probably use it over here. So I think that should be enough. And another thing I wanted to show you, like this one. So if I just go to the dashboard now, right, so we can basically replace that existing one with the new search, right? So another thing we have to remember over here is there is a user context token we are passing it over here, right? We have to remove this one as well, because not all the users will be like available in from our query, which we have seen it, right? So that is what we have to see. So if I just go back to last 60 minutes, probably like we should be able to see the changes reporting from in our dashboard over here. Okay, similar for Linux, but Linux there is another pending issue we have it, like how to fix this eventing issue over here. So probably I will try to fix it in the next video, because I think I do not want to prolong this particular video. So probably I will take it up in the next video. Okay, but anyway, let me know your thoughts on this one as well. And if you see any other issues, let me know as well. We will try to work together on this one. Okay, so hopefully this video was helpful. See you in the next video.